So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to yet another edition of the Pure Digital Fashion Podcast with me, Moses Kemibaro. And today we are recording from Mombasa, where we've come with LINX, who just launched a new setup here with iColo, both at their MBA 1 and MBA 2 data centers. And with me is Nurani, who's representing LINX. Maybe, Nurani, you can introduce.
Yes, certainly. So, Nurani Numpuno, I'm the head of global engagement at LINX, London Internet Exchange. And we run internet exchange points in many different parts of the world. And I think last time we spoke, we talked about the LINX Nairobi IXP
Yes.
and how that was growing, and we were expanding to a new location. So exchange points are really just hubs that interconnect different networks, anything from Meta and Google to your local broadband provider to the large transit providers.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about that progression, because I think we met at ITW Africa last year in September. Nurani, maybe you can tell us what happened there, then we can segue into this Mombasa moment where, if you're hearing the background, yes, that is the ocean. There are people playing on the beach, and the view here is fantastic. So I hope you don't mind the sound, but we're really in a wonderful, beautiful place here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, apart from Mombasa just being beautiful, I think we've always had our eye on Mombasa. When we came into Kenya, we were very well aware of the need for links in Nairobi, and we had a vision for what we could do in Nairobi. Nairobi is really where all the ISPs are. There's a very thriving community there. And we could see that with an interconnected ISP that interconnects all the data centers and that provides additional services apart from peering, simple interconnection, we could do a lot to serve that market. But of course, once you come into, a market, you start meeting people and talking to them and hearing about their needs and hearing their stories. It was clear to us also that Mombasa was another part of the country where we really could do good things. And of course, we have great partners. We work with iColo in Nairobi as well. So they became a given partner for Mombasa as well. I think, as you know, there's a lot of submarine cables coming into Mombasa, which really makes it uniquely positioned to serve internet traffic. And we know that there's a growing small ISP community, but also a growing community of content providers and international players here.
So I want to get into sort of the nitty-gritties of the fact that you chose to do this in Mombasa. I imagine it's for fairly large investment. You're concurrently deploying in both data centers from iColo MBA 1, MBA 2. Can you go a little bit deeper into the rationale behind that and how that architecture really does work and possibly offer opportunities not just for Kenya and the region, but even other markets because of this strategic positioning of Mombasa?
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever we build actually in any market or any metro, we look at all the data centers. We are a neutral nonprofit organization, so we try to serve the entire ecosystem. So when we go into any market really or any metro, we look at where are the customers that we can serve, where are the ISPs, where are the private providers, where are the content layers, etc. And we look at what data centers are available. And for us, it's not about serving just one part of that. We actually want to serve the entire ecosystem. The thing with an IXP as well is that if you do it well, an IXP in itself can be a catalyst for growth. But then you really need to be available to the entire ecosystem.
Right.
So, for example, the reason that we chose to go into both Mombasa 1 and Mombasa 2 data centers is that if you are a network that sits at only one of those data centers, you can, through our infrastructure, interconnect with any other network that sits at any of the two data centers. That brings a lot of value. And in addition to that, we also provide other interconnection services like closed user groups, private VLANs, and that, again, allows networks to interconnect through our infrastructure to those two data centers. So that's a rationale for it. And we work neutrally with any data center that exists in the market. So for us, it's really about how can we best position ourselves to help that ecosystem grow.
And going forward, right? I mean, this is obviously just the inception moment. I'm thinking now probably looking forward 2 to 5 years out. There was conversations on into the MBA 2 data center about the fact that the to Africa cable is already there. Yeah. I think that's the one that Facebook and the likes, Meta are investors in. What are the implications of this? It sounds to me like this is really possibly a very strategic inflection point in how this data ecosystem is going to work and possibly the role that LINX is going to play in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's infrastructure. It's really all about infrastructure. So, I mean, the fact that you have all these cables, 6 to 7 submarine internet cables coming into the coast of Mombasa, means that that traffic doesn't just stay in Mombasa. It goes in and out and up and down the coast. Some of it goes to the Middle East. Some of it goes around to other places in Africa. And what we see is that one of the reasons that we wanted to come and build in Africa was that we saw a lot of that traffic in Africa actually leaving the continent and going up to Europe. There's still a lot of need for terrestrial fiber in big parts of Africa, including Kenya. But submarine cables can also take some of that traffic. So even traffic that is generated in Mombasa can serve, so let's say from the continent that sits in Mombasa, can serve countries up and down the coast of East Africa. So up to Djibouti, down to Mauritius, and any place along the way there as well. So it's infrastructure, and it means that anything that you interconnect to Mombasa has interconnection options on those submarine cables as well.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying is that this is not really just a Kenyan story. It's the idea that anybody within this proximity, including other countries, other networks, so to speak, and other even cables, can take advantage of the fact that this infrastructure actually will now exist, and also through links in Mombasa, through MBA 1 and MBA 2 at Ikulu.
Correct. Absolutely. And I mean, that's what we hope also, not to just grow a local hub, but a hub for all of East Africa.
And given that, I think LINX has now been in this region approximately, 2 years, is that?
Yeah,
one and a bit more. I mean, what have you seen so far in terms of uptake, adoption, the partners you're signing up? I know that, for instance, in Nairobi now you have, I think, 4 distinct data centers. You know, what has been the impact of this so far?
I mean, it's early days.
Yeah.
So we should be humble about, what we can achieve.
Yeah.
But I think we have actually we've been quite overwhelmed by the interest in the IXP. I think the community here is amazing. There's so much innovation. There's so many, it's very dynamic market.
Yeah.
And we can see that there is interest. When we came in, we said from the start that we'll only come in if there's an interest and enthusiasm from the community. And we've been quite overwhelmed by that.
Really?
So we see that, LINX Nairobi is growing. From day one, when we launched in Nairobi, we had networks come and say, when are you coming to Mombasa?
Wow.
So, apart from the data centers wanting us there, we can see that there's a same with not just the ISPs, but some of the content providers too, saying, please come to Mombasa. So for us, it's really about serving the need of the people on the ground. And that's what, we're a membership organization, we're non-profit, we're not here to make a profit out of the IXP.
Yeah.
All the port charges that we are charging goes back into the membership. So it goes back into investing in infrastructure and giving back to the community. So that's also what we're using to do. We're doing capacity building workshops and local events because we think, that's how we can play a positive role.
And I think in the earlier conversations I had today with yourself, and I think also with Lindsay, also from LINX, there's possibly other opportunities that might lie even in the enterprise space, creating more redundancy. And I guess maybe my question to you would be, is there a need for even more education so that the market can really see what other possibilities LINX brings into the mix?
Yes. No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. We see there's a growing interest from enterprise and fintech and really all these kind of what I call non-traditional networks that we now see moving into close to more of the core of the interconnection space. And you see this in Kenya, but to be honest, we see it in London as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
So we do a lot of these sort of the training and education, even in London. And we do, we work with partners to do these technical workshops so that those people who are responsible for those networks can understand the benefits of peering and taking control over how your traffic gets routed outside of your own infrastructure and understanding how it affects your latency, the performance, and also the costs, right? The challenge, what's been interesting for us is that we see, because they're non-traditional, they have a very different mindset. they're trying to solve the same problem, but they're using a different language.
Correct.
So for us, it's been very much about trying to find the right language to explain to those networks how they benefit from peering. But in the end, the need is similar. We see that a lot of these financial institutions and enterprise, they're also interested in these other types of interconnection services that we provide. So there's Microsoft Azure peering, for example, Cloud Connect, private VLANs, closed user groups. So that's also a way of serving them. But yeah, like you say, there's a long sort of educational path there that we kind of take them along on. So yeah.
Great. So Nurani, thank you so much. I think this is our third conversation that we've had in the last couple of years. And I'm so delighted to be here in Mombasa and to work with you to sort of bring this story to life. But more importantly, wishing you all the best in the things that LINX is doing on the ground. We're really excited about the prospects going forward. And I think at the end of the day, really the key principle being with peering, we get the opportunity to keep our data local, keep these latencies low, and ultimately create a fantastic internet experience.
Absolutely. So thank you for, coming in to seeing the actual thing in live. And I think, next time we speak, hopefully we'll have some more stories to share about what impact it's had.
Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you so much. And you too.